I'm Tilly and I'm from Brisbane. I come up with my ideas when I need something or if I'm inspired by something that happens. The one I can think of is it was my best friend's 21st the other weekend and it was a costume party. I was going as a giant fork. Every website apparently was sold out of giant fork costumes. I don't know, there was maybe a cutlery convention on somewhere, but I could not get my hands on a giant fork. With the help of my nana, measured my body up and cut out of giant cardboard and did a face hole and then covered it in alfoil and masking tape and that was probably one of my more recent successful craft projects. Mexican food makes everything better, so when I had to make a new case for my earphones, naturally I thought a giant taco. Here's what you're gonna need. A range of coloured felts, scissors, some paper, a permanent marker, craft glue, googly eyes, and some Velcro spots. So the first step is we're going to draw our template of the taco shell and our lettuce. We'll need our permanent marker and our piece of paper for this. You just want to make it a squiggly kind of circle for the lettuce. Perfect. And then a round circle for our taco shell. And now rip it out and cut out your templates. Alright, now we've got our lettuce and taco shell template all cut out. I'm going to take the red felt and really quickly draw 3 long ovals with my permanent marker on the red felt. These are our tomatoes. Next we're going to draw the cheese with our yellow felt and we're just going to do some really long triangles for this one. Super easy, and we're going to do 6. Now I'm just going to take my scissors again and cut out the tomatoes and cheese. A little trick when cutting with felt is you pull it tight and it makes it super easy to cut it. Cut these in half and our tomato slices are ready to go. Now let's cut the cheese. Alright, my cheese and tomato are all done, so now I'm just going to cut out my lettuce and taco shell. I'm going to take, firstly, my lettuce template, put that there so it doesn't blow away, and my green felt. So I'm going to lay it down and take my permanent marker again and really quickly just trace all the way around it. Lettuce is all ready now to be cut. And lastly, the taco shell. Now everything's cut out, it's just ready to glue it all together. I'm going to take my taco shell first, and I'm going to start off with grabbing my tomatoes and placing them where I want to glue them, all around the edges, making sure that there's gaps in between for the cheese to go. Now I've got my tomatoes where I want them, I'm going to take the cheese and put them in all these gaps. Now I've positioned my cheese and tomatoes exactly where I want them. It's just time to glue them down. So now it's time to stick on our lettuce. Our tomato and cheese are all in place. Now remember, this is also going to be where our earphones are going to lie, because this is the lining of our taco. Before you glue the lettuce down, a little tip is to check by folding it in half, because that's what our taco will look like. We can see if it's in the right spot. We kind of want to position the lettuce so it's peeking through the tomato and cheese. I'm happy with the placement, so now just time for the glue. Okay, now the lettuce is stuck down. I'm going to fold it in half, and that is exactly how I want my taco to be. Now we're going to grab our Velcro spots, peel off one side, and stick it right where this side of the taco would be, so about there. And now a little tip is to get the other side of the Velcro and stick it right on top of this bit. That way you know for sure that they're going to line up when it's shut. Squeeze it together. A little tip though is to just put a squirt of glue underneath the Velcro just to make sure that it really sticks. We're just going to wait a little bit for that to dry now before sticking them back together. Our taco is nearly all ready. I'm just gonna add a face to mine. Gonna get 2 googly eyes and glue them right down here. Another little tip I really like to do is use 1 big eye and 1 little eye. I think it makes it look extra silly. And don't forget about a smiley face. Now our earphone taco holder is all ready to use. Just gotta add the earphones. Ta-da!
Glassblower is somebody who will be able to manipulate and shape glass. I had no idea how glass was made before I went to art school. You have to get your hand and your eyes and your mind working in unison. In my studio, I have a glass furnace. The process is I get a blowpipe, I put it into the glass furnace, I turn the iron, which is called gathering, and remove a volume of glass. I have a height cooler. This allows me to get my hand right down to the end of the iron. You never run in the glassworks. You move as fast as the glass requires. I'm watching the shape. The glass tells you what to do. Glass is all to do with heat and gravity. If I don't turn the glass fast enough, it will drip off onto the floor. So I blow a little bit of air down the blowpipe. The air expands because of the heat, creating a bubble. By turning smoothly and blowing evenly, it gives it an even thickness of glass around that bubble. What I'm doing here is a very traditional glass blowing exercise. It's funny where the inspiration comes from, and I don't know where it comes from. It's just something that happens inside. I get quite a bit of inspiration from the landscape that I travel through, where I live, and things that I do. After I take the glass out of the furnace, I shape it. There's very many ways of controlling and shaping the glass. We can use newspaper, a metal table, a wooden block, the back of my jacks. Once it gets below 700 degrees Celsius, it gets too stiff to work. I then have to reheat it. What drew me to the glass was the heat and the actual physical process of making something. What really tipped the scales for me was that I came across colour. What I'm rolling through here are some coloured chips. And these chips are glass. I have to heat these. This is a heating chamber that is purely used for reheating the glass. So that's getting hot. All the colour has smoothed in nice and evenly across the surface. So I need to do something here, which is called jacking, which gives me a line at the top of the piece of glass that allows me to take it off the pipe and work the top. In order to make this an object that we can use, I need to heat the top and open it up. Et voila. So a little bit of water and a little tap, and she comes off. I put it into the cooling oven to let this cool down. If I leave this piece of glass out, it will break.
I've always been fascinated about things that glow in the dark. Today, I'm going to show you a simple technique to make your artworks light up. And this is what you're going to need. Glow in the dark paint, acrylic paint, any color of your choice, wooden sticks, mixing bowls, an ice cube tray, some water, plaster of Paris, petroleum jelly, a paintbrush, and a light. First step is mixing the paint. Chose pink. It's just a little squeeze, you don't need much. Into your mixing bowl, and a secret ingredient, glow in the dark. A little squeeze of that, grab your paintbrush, some water, don't need much. Now just mix with your paintbrush until it's all dissolved, there's no big bits in there. Once that's mixed, grab your ice cube tray and your jelly, or you can use the cooking spray and just rub it around in there. It's going to stop the plaster sticking when they come out. And once that's done, set that aside, and then we're going to add the plaster to the water to create the chalk. So just pour it into the bowl with the paint, just until there's a bit of a mound in there, and just leave that to set for just a minute. Now you can mix it with a stick, or use your hands. I like to get a bit messy. And you just want to get rid of all those lumps in the plaster until you've got a nice, smooth consistency. And it's all mixed together. That's all smooth, I've got no lumps in there. That's the texture I want. Now it's ready to put in the ice cube tray. Just pour a little bit into each mold. It should be runny enough to fill the shape. And once you're out of mix, put that aside, and we're going to tap out the air bubbles. So just tap it down, it's going to get rid of all the air bubbles and fill out the mold. Now we're going to repeat that process with all the other colours. Now we're going to leave that to dry. Should take a couple of hours. Chalk's all set. Time to pop them out and charge them up. Now we're going to charge them up with the light. It's going to take about 5 minutes. So what's happening is the glow paint is absorbing all of that light so it can glow. 5 minutes are up, time to draw. It's a good idea to wet the chalk, it makes it easier to draw. Time to turn the lights off and watch it glow.
If you're anything like me, you are always losing your drink bottle. So at home, I've got a cupboard full of old odds and ends from bottles, lunch boxes, shampoo bottles, stuff that you would normally find in a recycling bin, but don't throw them away because I'm going to show you a really fun way to use them. What you'll need are some scissors, pliers, hot glue gun, and a bunch of old odds and ends. I don't even know what half of this stuff is, but it looks interesting and I reckon we can find a pretty good use for it. So I'm going to show you how to turn these into a robot. So first thing you need to do is pour out all your bits and decide what you think might work really well as a head, as a body, arms, legs, buttons, eyes, anything you can think of that a robot might have. And look for little bits like this that can be really useful. Nice bits like that might be good for maybe some arms. These would be good for a head, looks like a little cap. And you can pull bits apart as well, like that. I don't know what we could use it for, but we'll think of something. This was an old bottle that we were going to put in the recycling bin, but I cleaned it up and I think it'll make a really good robot body. So let's get started. You definitely need an adult for this because we're going to be using a hot glue gun. I think we'll start with the body. This round bit might make a really good pair of shoulders. So it's pretty soft because it's a bit old. So I'm going to use my scissors and I'm just going to start cutting it in half. So that could be shoulders and the neck. I think next we might need a head. And I like this bit because it kind of looks like a cute little baseball cap. So sometimes if you get really lucky, a bit might kind of just fit into another part, but it's good to secure it with some glue. So I'm going to get my hot glue And just use a little bit, you don't need very much. And just put a couple of dots in there. Pop it on, hold it for a couple of seconds just to make it secure. If you don't have hot glue at home, just use some coloured tape. It should work fine. Now my second bottle, I'm going to cut in half as well, and this will make the lower part of the body. I might make my robot a little bit shorter, so I'm just going to take a little bit more off this part. So there's no right or wrong way to do this. Everybody's robot is going to look a little bit different because everybody has different bits and pieces at home. I think that'll do for the bottom part of the body, and I'm going to try to fit this top half into here. Sometimes it's a little bit fiddly, a little bit tricky. So I'm just going to cut a little bit here, just like that, to give me a bit of room, whoops, to put the top part in. Okay, so he's together, but he's not very secure. So I found one of these rubber bands on one of my bottles, and I'm going to use that to secure this joint. If you don't have a rubber band from a bottle, you can just use any rubber band or hot glue. It can be a little bit fiddly. Okay, done. But I think he needs a pair of feet, and this bit looks like it might do the job. So if we can just, yeah, I think I'll put some glue there, and that should secure our robot. So you don't need very much again. Just hold it there again for a few seconds. Okay, feet are on. Now we need some arms. So I really like these bright bits. They don't need to match. Don't worry if you don't have two of the same. So I might just stick it right on the side there. So this is just a mouthpiece of an old bottle. I'm going to cut it in half and use it to help me attach the arm. So I'm just going to try to squeeze the arm into this hole. Bit of glue on that. Think about where you want your robot's arms to go. So I'm going to sort of put it in the shoulder area. And second one, I'm going to try to squish this into here. That was easy. Glue. He sort of looks like he's cheering for something. And just hold them in place. All right, now arms are on, let's find our robot a face. So I sorted through a few bits and pieces that I thought might be good for the eyes earlier. So I might pick these two black ones, and I might just put these little white ones on top to make the eyeball. They don't have to match. Don't worry if they don't. Sometimes it can look really cute if they don't. If you don't have anything that you can stick on for your robot's face, just draw something with a marker. All right, he's starting to look cute, but I think we need some gadgets for his tummy. So I've chosen a few pieces that I think might work well for buttons. Let's glue them on. And this is the fun part too, because you can add anything you want and pretend that the gadgets do different things. You could draw something on, you could paint something on, whatever you like. So that's just one example of our recycled robot, but the possibilities are endless. You could build so many different kinds of robots to build your robot empire. Da, 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 da.
Oh wow, this is very modern art.
Very postmodern.
Interesting. Very pop art. I love it. It looks like it could be an award show. Like, you should give this to someone as a prize.
It's colourful.
Reminiscent of a well-known Asian artist, Murakami.
It's definitely done by a kid.
So that's just one example of our recycled robot.
Not much.
Well, maybe they're making a comment about consumerism or something with the use of like drink bottle. Is this a drink bottle?
Stuff that you would normally find in a recycling bin, but don't throw them away because I'm going to show you a really fun way to use them.
I think they were trying to portray an animal or
The water crisis in other countries? I don't know.
Maybe they have child issues.
So many different kinds of robots to build your robot empire. Da, 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 da.
I don't think this one needs a name. I think it speaks for itself.
Unwanted.
Plastic eyes.
They've definitely recycled something, not sure what, but they've done some recycling.
I think it's portraying what life will be like in the future.
And yeah, it's here.